I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/BenandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
I was backed against the traps of my teenage
This is not an unsigned hype band.
No.
This band has tons of hype, but it's for good reason. We're now listening to Nightwish Stargazers. This is for my sister from another Mr. Paul McNee.
One of the originals.
I bet you've never been called that before. Paul McNee.
Seriously, one of my favorite artists. I know I say that every time her stuff comes up, but...
Okay, so here we go. This is them live in Tempere, I think, or Tempere. I'm not sure. But here they are. Nightwish live in Tempere or Tempere. This should be a good one. Let
the shows begin. No.
Go!
I don't...
We would like to play you a song from back in the days. Would you like to hear an old song?
Yes.
A song that has been off of the Nightwish set list for over 10 years. But we brought it back on this Endless Forms Most Beautiful World Tour. And it's been such a joy to play. So Tampere, do you want to hear this song?
Tampere.
That's the spirit. You are definitely ready.
She is a rock freaking star, bro.
Stargazers!
Yeah! Okay. All buzz rocket. They go to Iron Maiden.
Constellations
the heavy, big guy. Can't play with that girl, bro.
Shoot, man. As far as female artists, really, nobody can fuck with her. She is literally the best. She's the best.
She's unbelievable.
She's the best. She's the best vocally. She's the best in the way that she presents herself. She has like a lot of confidence when she's up there. She just does such a great job. And then she makes it kind of sound like you're in a theater and you're about to see a play. And then she just goes into singing, and it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Like she, there is this blonde lady that was in Arch Enemy before the current singer, and she was hardcore as far as stage presence. She had a better control of the crowd than Floor just did, but so it was like on 10. Like this woman is like an Amazon kind of warrior type of thing, and then of course you have Otep, who also kind of controls the crowd. But there is nobody in metal that combines everything. Like that lady from Arch Enemy, like she wasn't singing, it was rah, but she had such a control of the audience. Mm-hmm. But Floor controls the audience. She's a metalhead. You could tell she's a metalhead, and she knows how to control the audience and all that. It's just she has the complete. Well, I'm male or female. She has a complete package of skills that make her unique, and it's not just other female rock stars. I mean, we've been at shows where the dude like couldn't manage a crowd at all. Yeah. So that's a stat. That is
right.
And they just knocked it right out of the park because Floor is a monster. But one of the things I liked about this song is one of my, I don't know, pet peeves, whatever. I generally don't think heavy when I think Nightwish. Like I don't think to myself, oh, that's a heavy band.
I think of her voice going high.
Right. But this song,
it was
that
heavy.
little chunky little interlude riff, that shit was tight, bro. It's just very chunky and simple, almost like a circa 2012 hardcore breakdown. They all sounded like that, but like sonically it was insane.
And what you saw on the screens in the background gave you that experience, and the flashing lights, and then her voice, and her saying that they were going back in time basically for 10 years ago where that song was sung.
Yeah,
and bringing it out now,
that's one of the things that's really kind of awkward might be the word, like because of the whole Jihad versus Floor and Tarja. I remember somebody was like, how would you feel if somebody was singing Jonathan Davis's lyrics? And I was like, yeah, I get that. So I could imagine staying away, and it's a really emotional song. I could imagine them staying away from that because of the whole Floor Tarja issue. But I guess they had come to the conclusion that, look, man, we're done. You know what I'm saying? Like, We're done. So yeah, good stuff. Lyrically, what you think it was about?
Oh, I don't know. Let's go into it.
That's one of the problems with the live video, man. Is like it's so hard to like take your eyes away from the live video,
yeah.
so that you can do the breakdown. But the show must go on.
Right.
A grand oasis in the vastness of doom.
Gloom.
Child.
Mine says gloom.
Gloom.
Oh.
You're right. It's gloom. Child of
dew-spangled cobweb, mother to the moon, constellation beholders of the third vagrant, theater for the play of life.
So it looks like he's talking about life on Earth, right?
Yeah.
The vastness of gloom instead of the vastness of space. Child of a dew-spangled cobweb, mother to the moon. Constellation beholders of the third vagrant. That's why I said it's life on Earth, right? Because we're the third rock from the sun.
Oh, okay.
Theater for the play of life, which is probably a reference to what's his face? Was it Hamlet?
Okay.
All the world's a stage.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Shakespeare was the original one that came up with the sin theory. Yes. So that is like, for me, this song was like, I understand why Pony wanted this song. You know, this is a song that got Pony into Nightwish, and you know, so
it's a shout out and bring honor to her mother.
There's a couple
because her mother's the one that got her into Nightwish.
Yeah. There's a couple themes in this song that I think are part of the whole, I don't know, lore is the word. I don't think lore is the word per se, but yeah, I think that I'm having a little moment here. Here's why I'm having a moment, you losers. I'll explain it to you. I'll explain it to you later. All right. Anyway, I think he's talking about life on Earth and, you know, mother to the moon, tragedian of heavens. So I don't know if that's a real word, tragedian of heavens. I'm assuming that means that, you know, heavenly tragedy. Watching the eyes of the night, sailing the virgin oceans, a planet ride for mother and child. So this could be a literal mother and child, which would make sense. Or it could also be Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking.
Right? So in that sense, the mother there would be Mother Earth. So I think he's talking about life, you know, in the earth and maybe the futility of life. This right here is Pony's mom, and that right there is Pony's dad. So you see where Pony gets her beauty from. And, you know, this song was dedicated to her and her parents. She lost both of her parents, and this one particularly reminds her of mom. Floating upon the quiet hydrogen lakes in this ambrosial merry-go-round, they will gaze ephemeral life, touched by the billion-year show, separating the poet from the woe. Looks like he's talking about just going around and finding things to distract himself from pain. And of course, you've got the Oracle of Delphi, right? Oracle of the Delphian Domine. Yeah. Witness of Adam's frailty.
Oh, wow.
Seer of the master prophecy, the stellar world, her betrothed. So she was going to marry the world, whoever this she is. Wanderers in a cosmic caravan, universally bound, the starborn. A son in search for the truth, following the pages of the Almagest. Discovering the origins of dreams, stargazers right through the ancient realms. So I just think this is like a story of a person who's trying to reconcile himself to a great loss. And I'm not sure, I say this all the time, but like it just appears to me that was it Tomas or whatever, like was in love with Taria. So you had the whole Poet and the Pendulum. That was the first Nightwish song we did with the wrong singer, apparently. Poet and the Pendulum, where like there was that tension because you know he was madly in love with her. It appears but she was already married. It was just a lot of, you know, drama. And did this come from the Poet and the Pendulum record? What record was this on? The name of the album is Oceanborn 1998. Yeah, so there's a lot of themes in the lyrics about lost love and things like that.
Yeah.
In general in Nightwish, but then there's also the lyrical side of talking about how we're wanderers, how it's basically like we're trying to make meaning with each other in this sort of like, you know, empty universe where God isn't there, and it doesn't look like things are going to turn out well for this mother and son pair. But, you know, I think about my mom and her not being here anymore. That's one of the reasons why, you know, my ex and I, we, you know, did not end very well, and, you know, kids got hurt in the process. And because of it, you know, they all went through their phases where they hated her and all the rest of it. But it wasn't typical teenage, I hate you. It was, you know, born out of a lot of pain. And I remember saying to him, to one of them, I said, look, little bro, I get it, man. Like, you know, your mom did you dirty, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, the minute your mother dies, you're going to wish you had another second with her. And I'm speaking from experience. I didn't, you know, my mom was a Jamaican, is still a Jamaican woman. So they handled things a little bit differently. So we had our wars. And then God said, you got to go call your mother and tell her you forgive her, and ask for forgiveness for yourself, for your guys' little jihad. So I did that, and she accepted it graciously, and I hung up the phone. And we weren't together at the time, but right after I hung up the phone, I was so emotional, and I texted you, and I was like, my mom's gonna die. It's the last time I talked to her. And you were like, what was going through your mind when I sent you that text, actually?
Well, I always really wanted to meet your mother, and I knew that things had been, you guys had your wars and stuff. I think my understanding of family then was different than my understanding of family now. Mm-hmm. Like, at that point, it was like, under no circumstances should you break relationship with your family. And so I felt like, oh my gosh, like all those wasted years, or the years, because I consider those, if you're not talking, you're wasting them, because they're going to be gone, and then you don't have them anymore. And so I was like hoping that you were wrong, because from what you explained about your mother, I felt like she was a deeply spiritual person. Like, yes, she had issues, and we all have issues. And so I just felt like that you guys, maybe in your older years, would be able to connect in a way that you didn't connect when you were a child. And so I was really hoping that for you, and I was just really, really hoping that you were wrong on that, and that it was just, you know, a bout of depression that was kind of like making you feel dark or sad. And also, I really wanted to meet your mother, and so I was just hoping that you were wrong, so that way I would get to meet her. But I kind of felt like you might be right, but I didn't want you to be right, so I couldn't really tell if you were going to be right or not. When you're too emotional on things, you know. So yeah
100%. And I think it's one of the things that, you know, being in the village has actually helped me as far as processing my mother's death a lot more deeply than church. So, and, you know, obviously Pony, like, she had similar situations, so there's a relatability, but just like the metal community seems to be really understanding about that stuff. You know, my ex, her mom died, and like 3 months later, all the folks in the church were telling her to basically get over it, take some meds, and move on. 3 months after her mom blew herself away. Like, oh my goodness. So it's just, it's very hard when you have a death, and I think the biggest thing about when my ex mother-in-law died, or my mother-in-law, whatever, was like the whole world just kept going. And I was so resentful about the fact that everybody was just going on with their life like the most important person in the world hadn't died, you know? So, moms are a hell of a thing, man. Hell of a thing. And, you know, mine had to be mom and dad for a lot of times. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Shout out to, here's DJ. Losing a parent earlier than you should makes you square with your maker. Gifted program style. I don't know what gifted program style means, but that was probably a you know, fat finger or whatever. But the idea, you know, like that whole, what is it? I love you forever. I love you for always. You know, the little cycle of life where the mother is taking the kid out of the hospital and brings him up the stairs and changes. You know that story. Okay, so it's called I Love You Forever, I Love You for Always, or something like that. So it starts with the mom. She's like in her 30s, and she brings this little baby up to, you know, and it's a baby, and then she's got to feed the baby because you got to change the baby, you got to do all this stuff, and then it's like, oh, eventually the little boy grew, but then the mom became more, you know, older, so the kid had to feed, and then when he'd feed, he'd say, I love you forever, I love you for always, blah 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 blah. So when he was a baby, his mom was taking care of him basically, and then when he grows up, his mother gets old, he's taking care of her. So all the things she did for him, carrying up the stairs, blah blah blah, he does for her.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful beautiful story. I heard that story straight through from beginning to end one time, and I've never listened to it again, and I never will, ever. My ex discovered the book, and Dorian was like, he loved that book. He loved that book. So they'd sit on the couch and
oh God.
But that was long before my mother died. Long before my mother died. It was so sad to me. And the other part of it was like knowing that that's going to happen to my mom. You know, like it was just like, wow. And the thing is I never, you know, my mom and my dad, you know, they had their little struggles or whatever. So I never saw my mom and dad together. I told the story a million times. I'm in Jamaica. Some woman's walking up the driveway, and then, you know, my cousin says, "That's your mom." And I ran out and I said, "Are you my mom?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'm your mom." So that's how I met her, you know. So she's irreplaceable, man.
It's gotta be hard too, because like my mom was sick for so much time when I was growing up that I didn't view my mother as like somebody who was strong. I felt like she was always on the verge of dying because she was so ill. And your mother, from your story, seems like she was extremely strong. And so, you know, she would go through cycles of having a hard time, but then when she was ready to put her foot forward, like 3 cars in the garage, you know, like it was just, it was all kinds of, so, you know, I think that a strong person like that, like thinking of them, you know, growing old and stuff is more difficult than someone who you already kind of view as frail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and when I heard that story, I had just gotten my mother. You know what I mean? So
You were that little?
Yeah, I was like first grader when I heard this story. So I had just, in my mind, finally hooked up with my mom again, and then I'm confronted with this fact that she's going to die one day.
Oh my gosh.
You know, so I've only heard that story once, and I'll never read that again. But there's no need to, because she's gone anyway, so I can't. It's not like I can take care of her anyway. So she's yeah. But anyway, I completely understand why Pony chose this song. It's a good song, man. Really, really good song. And you know, anyway, rest in peace to Pony's mom. Rest in peace to mine. They're probably up there right now, Pony, looking at us and laughing at us, telling me to stop being such a drama queen. All right, what do you got?
9.8, 9.9, 9.9.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, it's a 10 for me. Pretty emotional situation. Shout out to Pony. And yeah.
Go with a 10 as well.
Shout out to all the moms out there. And shout out to everybody who's lost their mom. So we're gonna see him again at the table, inshallah. So there's that. There you go. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Pony's parents out. But they're coming back. Gone.